ANC is calling for intervention from the provincial and national government to resolve the water crisis. We're joined now by Gauteng ANC spokesperson Lesego Makhubela. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. One would have thought you're politicking at the time, but I remember actually I said, and I recalled you saying, even before, and this was early in the year that you had said there was a cholera
month or so ago.
Yeah.
Condolences to the families of those that lost their loved ones, and speedy recovery to those who are recovering in hospitals and those who are recovering from their homes. They are victims of the epicenter of corruption, which is the city of Tshwane. We know that there are people who benefit unscrupulously from the water crisis in Hammanskraal. And that's why it's continuing the way it is. And these people are DA politicians and they are cronies. We raised this matter as the African National Congress. I remember vividly when I was a councillor in the city of Tshwane in 2016. We raised it, and when we saw that the DA was downplaying it, because if you roll your cameras, you can get the responses of all the mayors of the DA, from Solim Simanga to Stevens Mohala Makapa, Abel Tau, to even the last mayor, Randall Williams, whom we asked that, okay, if he says that this water is fit for human consumption, he must take a glass of it. And we asked our ANC councillors from Hammanskraal to bottle the water and bring it to council, and he refused to drink it. So this is not the time for cheap political scoring. But we've been telling the people of Gauteng, we've been telling the people of Tshwane that the coalition of the DA and its alliance partner or its overflow facility for black leaders, Action SA, has collapsed and crippled the city of Tshwane.
Yeah. But listen, I mean, if you ask Randall at the time when he was asked to participate in the independent panel that was investigating this matter, he pointed out that the Hammanskraal water crisis starts in 2004. In fact, one of the residents that I spoke to yesterday also says it is something that has been going on for over 2 decades. So I went back and I looked a little bit as to the 2 decades and what has been happening, right? Parliament in 2008, 2009 had this to say. Critical in our contribution towards the enhancing of water security is addressing a challenge of this is the mayor speaking. Here's what Parliament said. Sorry. It was concerning to the committee that there has been a general underspending on capital expenditure by the city of Tshwane vis-a-vis what is budgeted for since 2008-2009 financial year. In the context of the water crisis, there's been consistent underspending in Tshwane. And 2008-2009, that was your government.
I'm very happy that today you come a little bit prepared. You are going deep, Hashem. You were trying to get ready for me, but I think you might need to get deeper more than the desktop research.
Yeah.
We are debating the quality of drinking water.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis ensuring that we are able to provide water for all the residents of Hammanskraal, who, by the way, Hammanskraal has been expanding from Temba, Suruman, and all the other new areas that have come into play. And that's why when the DA took over in 2016, they found that we were building a dam.
Yeah.
There was a dam that we were building, and that dam was supposed to be providing water for the people of Hammanskraal.
Right.
So the source of the cholera outbreak, which we announced over 2 months ago, the source of the cholera outbreak is the failure to maintain a water purification plant, a water treatment plant, which by the way, if you dig deeper, you will realize that the city of Tshwane was awarded a blue drop status.
Yeah.
Now, that is top-notch water. That is not the best water to drink in Gauteng or the best water to drink in South Africa. That is the best water to drink in the African continent.
Yes.
And the Rooival water treatment plant was ranked number 2.
Yes.
And so it moved, and it consistently received that award, and that is on Google. You can go on your phone. Just say blue drop status.
You lost the blue drop. I'm ready for you. I'm going to bring that. I'm ready for you.
And check it. And the city of Tshwane, we lost it under the DA.
No, you lost it under the ANC. The mayor in his State of the City address says that we have started in earnest to ensure the well-being of the citizens of Tshwane, and we will be improving the green drop score currently at 70.6%, considered a fair performance with ample room for improvement.
That's why you need the research capacity in studio. You need the think tanks behind you to be able to tell you which right questions to ask. There's a difference between the green drop status and blue drop status. Right. The blue drop status speaks about the quality of drinking water. Yes. And you must juxtapose the green drop reports, which the ANC in Tshwane, in Gauteng, consistently won that municipality under the ANC. Juxtapose it with the reports that came when the ANC wrote to the Human Rights Commission. Yes. The Human Rights Commission and the Department of Water Affairs says to the people of Hammanskraal, and they are not politicizing anything, they say this water is not fit for human consumption. It smells, it smells strongly of human feces.
The ANC itself pointed at the quality of the waters dropping in Hammanskraal. It's not something that is new that we are talking about today. It's something that has been there for close to 2 decades. In fact, in one of his address to the people of Hammanskraal, Sputla says, people get water from trucks and Jojo tanks. We want to ensure that everyone had water in their yards. 550 million has been set aside for that particular.
Let me go, but that's why there's a big problem with desktop research.
It's not desktop research. It's what Sputla said. It's his state of the nation, a state of the city address.
Firstly, you said there was no budget.
Yeah.
And then you quote the state of the.
I didn't say there was no budget. I said you underspend it.
No, you underspend it.
Yes.
Firstly, you say we underspend.
It's not me. It's Parliament.
Yeah. So then we explain to you. I'm explaining to you that the Hammanskraal expanded. There were new areas. If you go to Temba was getting water, clean drinking water. If you go to areas that were existing, they had water. And also, if you go back, you'll remember Hammanskraal was part of the Northwest and Limpopo, demarcated into Gauteng, demarcated into the city of Tshwane.
Yes.
When the city of Tshwane took over the Hammanskraal, it began to start expanding the provision of basic services and including electricity. There was a time most of these places that did not have water also did not have electricity and also did not have a proper road infrastructure.
Yes.
Those services had to be expanded.
Right.
Those services had to be provided to the people and residents of Hammanskraal, including the new parts of Hammanskraal that actually came up.
Yes.
And that's a reality.
Okay.
And that's why I keep on bringing you back.
Yes.
I keep on bringing you back that the Royal water purification plan was functioning.
Yes.
It was well functioning. It was pumping clean, drinkable water to the residents of Hammanskraal.
Yes.
What was being expanded was the provision of water, and that's why that dam. The last time there was any work done on the dam which were building in Hammanskraal, which Sputla is referred to, the then mayor of the city of Tshwane was referring to. The last time any work was done in it was in 2016.
Yeah.
There is no brick, there is no cement, there's nothing that has actually touched that place ever since the ANC was taken out of power.
Okay, let's take a break, because I didn't plan to talk to you this long, but I'll keep you for the next hour because I want you to explain
next hour.
a little bit more. Just a little bit longer. Stay with us. That's Gauteng ANC spokesperson Lesego Makhubela there with us. We'll unpack a little bit more of this as we get in deep. In Focus continues in a moment. Back to you live here tonight here on In Focus, and thanks for staying on. We've had to extend our conversation with the spokesperson of the Gauteng ANC, Lesego Makhubela, because of the seriousness of the matter in Hammanskraal. And my think tank is telling me that you are not doing justice to them, because they really did do a good job to try and give me this information. But the issue that you're raising is true, and it's an issue that was reflected in 2008 in Parliament, saying that we know at the center of this problem nationally and in Tshwane in particular is the inability of the system to handle inflow. So as you're putting it, people were beginning to move in, and it was the inflow was beginning to over what do you say? English is running overpower the system, so to speak, and you needed to build a new water waste treatment plant, and hence the 550 million. Was it spent correctly?
Of course it was. That's why there's no any report about it. That's why there's no one who has been charged for anything. That's why you don't have the Auditor General and credit and reputable instruments of good governance coming out and saying this money went missing. I'm saying to you that the process of building the dams has started. We were starting to build it, the plans, everything we're starting to implement. Unfortunately, we were wrestled out of power. We were removed out of power. And from there, nothing ever happened. Because ours was to ensure that we expand the provision of water to all areas of Hammanskraal, including at that point. There was never question about the quality of the water we provided to the people of Hammanskraal, those who were able to have access to the water outside the new settlements that had started in, including the existing ones that did not have any potable drinking water. And that's why we made interventions into place to ensure that those people are able to get the water. But we're building the dam. So that has never been the question. And even when we started the process of building the dam, we called the community. And we explained to community members that bear with us, we're building this dam. And that's why that report, you're not finding it from the statement of the DA. You're not finding that report from the statement of Action SA. You're finding it from ANC public representatives. Because we are students of Amilcar Cabral. We claim no easy victories and we mask no difficulties. And that's why we're telling it as it is. That we're worried that with the underspending, this money has to be spent. We need to ensure that we fast-track the erection of that dam, which was going to solve the provision of water. And I keep on repeating the provision of water because in question is not the provision of water. In question is the quality of potable drinking water provided by the DA insistently to the people of Hammanskraal, who kept on saying that this water smells strongly of urine and feces. And successive DA mayors, including Helen Zille, all the way from Cape Town, said it is cheap politicking by the ANC, who are even using the Human Rights Commission. You need to go and read the Sibanyoni report, your think tank, your researchers. They must read the Sibanyoni report, which was authored by the Human Rights Commission, which had actually went out and called water experts to be, because they did not have the skills to be able to do that. They called water experts to actually check the quality of this water that was provided by the city of Tshwane, and came out with the conclusion, and not only just gave a ruling on the quality of the water, made recommendations on what is to be done in resolving this matter of Tshwane. But unfortunately, and that's why national government, again, removed the ANC, it's failing, it's doing everything. Again, national government has to come and resolve the mess of the DA.
But let's talk about experts. The NICD has come so far to tell us that there is no cholera in the Temba water treatment plant, certainly no cholera in the Rand water system, no cholera in the Mritile system at this particular point. Do you believe that report?
I'm saying that people, the doctors in the hospitals in Jubilee and those who were tested by our professionals who are not wearing any political tag of any party are saying to us they found traces of cholera in the water. And also, they found that the symptoms of the people who actually passed on are actually consistent with people who are suffering from cholera. And so it's not the.
So if it's not in the water network, where is it?
I'm not a scientist. I think we'll leave that to the scientists to be able to explain that. But the problem has been isolated. that the source of the problem is in Hammanskraal. It's coming from the water purification plant in Rooiwal. Yeah. And what they did, because they wanted to check if the entirety of the water network in Tshwane is contaminated. They could not find that. But we are finding, with the postmortems conducted on those that have already passed, that those who are qualified, who are physicians, who are not you and me, are saying to us that the symptoms and everything these people have passed on the traces and symptoms of things that are related to cholera. And we'll leave that to the experts.
So you mentioned the corruption in this matter, and calling on the, I don't know whether it's yourself or it's Tshwane itself that is calling on the public protector to investigate. How much do you think has been misused here?
It will be very interesting that they call on the public to investigate what? The Human Rights Commission, which is also a Chapter 9 institution, has come out, not now, not last year, no, has come out more than 4 years ago, issued a report and gave recommendations on what the city should do. And we've been impressing on the city on what they must do. Yeah. Successive failed DA mayors who have been placed there through the vote of Action SA and at some point through the vote of Freedom Front Plus and the EFF have denied that there's a problem with the water that was consumed by the people of Hammanskraal. Yeah. To an extent that if you roll your cameras, you will see that ANC councillors brought the bottled water from Hammanskraal and gave it to the mayor and said, okay, since you are saying there's a problem, and since we know you're not going to come to Hammanskraal, here is the water, can you have a sip?
No, I remember, whether it was you, but one of your members, we had Abel Tau here, and he was then acting mayor, or
he was coming here, with
yes, and you insisted that he must drink the water. I remember.
With brown teeth, but he says there's no problem with the water.
Now listen, I'm asking you, here's a question. I'm asking you, the question is, you are saying right now not a single thing has been done, right?
Never.
Mayor Silly Spriggs says 60% of the work of phase 1 in the Rooiwal project has been completed. They are now looking at doing phase 2, which requires 2.5 billion rands, which is the entire Metro's budget as far as that is concerned. Hence, they're saying national now must come on board, because the city on its own cannot be able to do that project at the pace that it needs to be done.
He must tell you that the people who are awarded the contract to do the work have said to the city that you have de-escalated the scope of the work. They did that. They de-escalated the scope of the work because they believed in de-escalating the scope of the work, they would then be able to save costs. And professionals said it can be done with the bill of quantities that you are saying will be needed to be there to resolve this problem. Our analysis tells us this is the amount of money that must be spent on this particular project. But they de-escalated what must be done. More than that, the service providers who were awarded to do the work, it took the city of Tshwane almost 14 months to adjudicate the tender. 14 months. It took them 14 months. At some point they cancelled it, and eventually they awarded it. And when the service providers arrived on site, they said, no, but with what you have given us, this will not be enough to resolve the problem. Then the second part is that where will Tshwane get the money to then resolve this issue? I came here on studio. I said an international credit rating agency has downgraded Tshwane to the junk status. Not even Capitec or African Bank can borrow the money. There is no bank in South Africa or in the world that can touch them. The Auditor General says you need to be able to explain to us where is 10 billion. It's not a big story in this country. It's not followed up. No one is getting arrested. People are not... because it's DA politicians. And the tag that must be worn is that the ANC is corrupt. So the problem in Hammanskraal, what I'm saying to you, is that the city of Tshwane has no capacity to be able to resolve it. The city of Tshwane has not even a capacity to resolve the problem of collecting waste. They don't even have capacity to resolve anything. They can't collect waste. They can't do anything because they don't have the money to be able to do so. And waste, they are unable to collect. Whatever is collected goes to the cronies of the DA, who benefit from sending water with trucks to the people of Hammanskraal. And that's what is happening in that city. That city, and the ANC is very clear. We are clear in actually defining the city of Tshwane as the epicenter of DA corruption. It is the epicenter of corruption there. And they do everything with absolute impunity. Silas Brink is not in Tshwane to fix anything. He's there to sell the Vonnerbom airport. That's what he's there for. He knows he can't fix anything. He knows the city has no capacity to fix anything. He knows that the whites that they've employed as bodybuilders who are working as senior managers have no technical capacity to resolve any problem. He knows it. He's just there to auction the Vonnerbom airport.
Let's come back.
Yeah.
52 trucks. You're saying those 52 trucks are owned by politicians? None of ANC politicians own those trucks?
I don't know how many trucks are there in the city of Tshwane that provide water to Hammanskraal or any other affected areas. I don't know how many.
We're told that they've dispatched 52 trucks.
They've dispatched 52 trucks. Yeah. Okay, I did not know that.
Who owns those trucks?
I don't know. You should have asked them when.
No, but you are saying that the people who are benefiting are the people who send those trucks there. So are you saying those trucks are owned by politicians?
Why must this crisis be prolonged for so long? When the city, there was a point in time when the city had the resources to resolve the water purification plant in Ray Valley, did not do so. It actually was comfortable in dispatching those trucks. And if there are ANC politicians, as you are insinuating, because it's always the insinuation of the media, you must name them. It's so easy.
No, I wanted you to name them. You are saying that there are politicians who are benefiting from it. I want you to name who are the politicians who are benefiting.
There is no single ANC politician that is providing water in Hammanskraal. There's none. Because it is ANC members who are affected. Silas Brink has no single relative in Hammanskraal. He doesn't. He lives in the affluent suburbs of Tshwane. He lives in Pretoria. He has never been to Hammanskraal. He has not even seen the water that these people in Hammanskraal are drinking. He doesn't know where Skampanning is. And that's what the DA has brought us. But myself, I have relatives in Hammanskraal. And therefore, I cannot subject them to suffering, to cholera, and to torture because I wanted to gain something. And then there's no single ANC politician who provide those trucks. If Silas Brink says there's 52 trucks that they've sent, and he says it's 52, you must just say, in those 52 trucks, just give us the ownership of the people who own those. And you'll be shocked. It's them, the DA. Why is this crisis endless? Why doesn't it end? It's because DA politicians are profiting from it. And that's the reality. And secondly, DA politicians and members of the DA are not affected by this. Their relatives live in affluent suburbs of the city of Tshwane, which is Pretoria East. And that's why they are disaffected.
We are at a point where we've lost lives. And I suppose we can point fingers. That's what politicians do, and you can continue to do so. But we need to solve the situation. National has come on board. How do we solve it? You don't point fingers. We can't call it pointing fingers when the ANC started raising this issue from 2016. When the DA failed to respond to this issue, we wrote to the Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission came to Tshwane, issued 2 reports, not one. 2 reports, interviewed residents, visited those people who had fallen sick, and ensured that there are experts who come to... It's not pointing fingers, and that's what politicians do. Activists are one with the community. They are transplanted from the communities. They are affected by what communities go through. So this crisis which is happening in Hammanskraal, which has been happening for close to a decade now,
has been raised by the ANC caucus in the city of Tshwane and the ANC in Tshwane for a very prolonged period of time, because we knew it was going to get to this point if they did not fix this. And by the way, when the treatment plant started having issues, there were minor issues that the DA could fix. They decided to turn a blind eye on the problems there and allowed the problems to escalate to a point whereby for us to be able to fix it, you need 2.5 billion. And to answer your question that no, we're just pointing fingers. No, the ANC has engaged the structures to say national government must intervene. The Department of Water Affairs has issued a statement today and has sent the Minister of Water and Sanitation to go and be able to intervene decisively and resolve this problem. And I can tell you, we are going to intervene, and one of the things that we are going to find is that the DA will go to High Court and say, no, we are interfering with the three spheres of government. One of the reasons why the Gauteng Executive Committee collapsed the city of Tshwane, one of the reasons was Hammanskraal. We said we are failing to provide a basic service which is guaranteed by the constitution of this country, which says people are entitled to potable quality drinking water. You are failing. And that was one of the reasons why the city of Tshwane was collapsed. The DA went to court.
I'm out of time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.